we even get into investing and how to best position yourself, I mean, from an economic perspective, how do you think people should be positioning themselves?
You've said all the right things, Catherine, and I guess I would use the word that we've gone to extremes. I'd also be so blunt as to say the Federal Reserve, primarily the Federal Reserve, but also the federal government of Washington has made mistakes. And you're absolutely right that this is a money phenomena, and the buildup or the increase in the money supply based on the Federal Reserve increasing the size of its balance sheet, in other words, holdings of financial assets, based on the federal government spending so much money to try to get us out of the pandemic or to help us during the pandemic. The money supply increased $6 trillion. And that led to, of course, the increase in inflation to 4.7% in 2021 and now 8.1% in 2022. And now they're going in the other direction. Again, the word extreme, word mistake also occurs. And we're talking about a Federal Reserve now that's reducing the size of its balance sheet. We're talking about a federal government in Washington that is slowing the growth of its spending. And as a result,
Yeah.
we're getting numbers on inflation now. Yes, they're coming down 4.7 to 8.1, and it'll probably be 3.5% and then 2.5%. But we're going to get high rates of inflation and high rates of unemployment. And you're right, there's going to be a lot of pain. And obviously, Powell knows there's going to be a lot of pain, and he warned us that there's going to be a lot of pain. That's an unfortunate outcome of what I think are just some mistakes in monetary and fiscal policy, and it's really unfortunate.
It is really unfortunate. With respect to, and it's interesting, I'm going to segue for 1 second here. If you really think about it and what we're talking about in terms of monetary policy impacting all of us in extreme ways, really, that is the genesis for cryptocurrencies. It was the genesis for Bitcoin to not have central banks determine the value of your currency, correct?
Well, it is, but don't forget that if they did it right, and they didn't do it right, in my judgment, they went too far. But the problem with crypto is that yes, it takes the growth of the money supply, it takes the level of the money supply away from central banks. That's not a good outcome. And the reason that's not a good outcome, if they did not make mistakes, they would have increased the size of the money supply in order to help us out of the pandemic, but they'd increase it by the right amount. That's not easy. Monetary policy is an art. It's not a science. But they would have done it right. And also, on the other side of the equation, when they're starting to slow the economy by reducing the growth rate of the money supply, they do it a little bit more with a little more finesse. So the point is the one problem with crypto is you take it away from central banks, which takes it away from the ability of central banks to have an impact on the economy. And that's a big mistake. And that's going to come to an end. You're not going to have crypto being the currency, whether it's depending on the crypto you're talking about. It's going to still be in the hands of the central bank, and they will come up with their own answer to crypto.
Right, their own digital currency. You're seeing that in various central banks around the world doing pilot programs for sure. But while we're on it in this segment, let me get your take, and we're going to talk about investing in other areas. But Hugh, you're a Wall Street veteran, sensible person, I think, in all these years, of course, that I've been in interviewing you. What's your take on FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried? I want to ask everybody I talk to.
Let me put it briefly. I've been warning about crypto. I've been warning about Bitcoin. I've been warning about a lot of other things where there's clear cases of speculation. There are no fundamentals. There's clear cases of speculation. There's no fiat currency being created. It's not going to be the case that people are going to accept crypto. In some cases they will, but in most cases they won't, in payment for any services. It just makes no mistake. It's pure speculation. When you get pure speculation, you're going to get distress. When you get distress, what happens is a lot of those that have borrowed money to buy, whether it's crypto or any other speculative asset, are going to have trouble making their debt service payments and are not going to make them, and they're going to default. And that's followed by revulsion. And revulsion is when we get a very sharp decline in prices. That's what you're seeing right now. And let's not forget the one other thing that's characteristic of these kinds of outbreaks of speculation. and that's swindles. And the urge to swindle and the urge to
Okay.
be swindled runs parallel to
We'll
the
take a
urge to speculate. So this is a
we'll
pure and
take a
simple mania, and it's now ending, and it should have.
okay. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.